Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, our own notes, and we try to boil it all down into the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight just for you. Now, if you joined us last time, you'll remember we took a close look at some pretty wild claims coming from that YouTube channel, DeepHumor. He was really sounding the alarm about YouTube's supposed new AI age verification system and this big August 13th deadline for universal ID checks. Well, guess what? DeepHumor just released a new video. It's called How to Avoid YouTube's ID Verification. So our mission today, kind of a follow-up, is to really dissect this latest video. We want to pull out the key insights and, let's be honest, keep separating the actual facts from the ongoing speculation and, well, the fear-mongering.
Yeah, this is really important timing for this deep dive. It's not just about what he's saying now, but it really shows how these narratives can kind of twist and evolve, right? Especially when you're talking about sensitive stuff like privacy online or, corporate control. This new video offers up solutions, as he calls them, but they're solutions to a problem that, like we talked about last time, was pretty much mischaracterized from the start. It's a really good exercise in figuring out how to evaluate information these days.
Okay, so he's basically doubling down then. How does he kick this new video off? What's the core problem he's still trying to sell us on?
He jumps right back in, reiterating that central claim pretty forcefully. He says, and I'm quoting here, YouTube is going to be using AI to determine whether you're an adult or not on August 13th. And if they mark you as a kid, you're going to have to show them your ID to prove that you're not a kid. And then, boom, he pivots straight away, offering what he calls a brand new piece of information to help you get around this supposed threat.
Right, okay. And what's the first solution then? What's his advice for avoiding this ID check that he thinks is coming for everyone?
Well, his first big piece of advice, it's all about gaming your watch history. He's claiming YouTube figures out your age based on things like what you look up, how old your account is, and the big one, the videos that you actually watch.
Okay, right. So the idea is you need to make your viewing habits look older to the AI. And he ties this specifically to YouTube's COP update, that's COPPA, right? The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act from back in 2020. That's when creators had to start marking videos made for kids or not made for kids, and it affected things like comments and playlists. How does he actually weave COPPA into this advice?
Yeah, this is where it gets quite prescriptive, maybe even a bit wild. He tells viewers quite literally that to avoid getting flagged as under 18, you literally need to not watch videos that are marked as made for kids. He even uses iCarly as an example. He points out, look, if a clip is on, say, Nick Rewind and it has comments turned on, then it's marked not made for kids, so, that's okay to watch. But he warns, if you go watch SpongeBob on the official SpongeBob SquarePants channel, that's obviously marked made for kids, comments are off. So, well, then you most likely, unfortunately, have to stop watching videos like this. He even goes further, advising people to avoid official channels altogether. Like Disney owns Phineas and Ferb. If you want to watch Phineas and Ferb, try to watch clips or episodes of it that aren't actually uploaded from Disney Channel animation.
Wow, so the price of being seen as an adult by YouTube's AI is no more official SpongeBob. That's quite something. But seriously, this feels like a huge leap in logic. What's the real problem with how he's connecting COPPA to age verification here?
You nailed it. That's the core distortion right there. If we link this back to what we found last time, that whole COPPA update, the Made for Kids flag, it's fundamentally about protecting children's data online. And it affects content features like whether you see personalized ads or if the comments section is active. It is not a direct tool for universally verifying the viewer's age just for general access to YouTube. He's mashing together this content labeling system, which is for kids' privacy, with this idea of a universal age gate for adults where you need an ID if the AI messes up. It's like saying the grocery store will card you for buying kids cereal just because the box says kid-friendly. Doesn't track.
That's a perfect analogy, actually. It really shows the misdirection. Okay, so after telling us to ditch SpongeBob, what's his second tip for dodging this ID demand he envisions?
Okay, so his second suggestion is to actually watch a restricted content. And this is where it gets really interesting, because he almost trips over his own argument here. He actually states, and this is a direct quote again, YouTube's ID system has kind of already been in place for years. They have been requesting ID for watching like age-restricted content and stuff.
Oh, wait, hold on. He says that YouTube already asks for ID for age-restricted stuff. Isn't that exactly the point we established last time? But the August 13th update is about using better tech, like AI, to estimate age for that specific restricted content, not some new requirement for every single user just browsing the site.
Exactly. Yes, the irony is just wow. He states the actual truth of the policy. YouTube already has an ID check for restricted content. But then in the very next breath, he keeps pushing this scary story about a universal ID demand for all users if the AI happens to make a mistake. And his solutions, like messing with your watch history, are supposedly needed to avoid that universal check. A check that his own words just suggested isn't the actual policy for general use, it's textbook stuff, really burying the inconvenient truth inside the bigger, scarier narrative to keep people alarmed. He admits the target, then pivots right back to the universal fear.
That's a really slick rhetorical trick, isn't it? Wow. And then, just to add another layer, he talks about these alternate methods he's heard about for passing the ID check, but he specifically says not to use them. What kind of methods is he talking about?
Yeah, he mentioned some pretty out there ideas, things like using images from the video game Death Stranding, the baby pods to fake pictures of themselves, or even using AI to generate fake faces, people that aren't real, for IDs. Now, to be fair, he does warn against this. He says, these websites are passing these decisions because of laws, meaning using a fake image or ID to bypass an age verification is most likely illegal. And he adds, pretty smartly actually, you are using AI to combat an AI system. YouTube is going to be using AI to actually evaluate whether your images are real or not. Okay. So they're most likely going to be able to detect that these are AI.
Okay, so he's being responsible in warning against illegal stuff, but just bringing it up at all, doesn't that kind of keep the fear simmering? It sort of implies that the situation is so bad that people are actually thinking about these crazy illegal workarounds.
Precisely. That's the fascinating part of the rhetoric here. While he's saying, don't do this, it's illegal, it won't work, the mere fact that he's discussing faking IDs or using game imagery implicitly validates the underlying fear. It suggests the threat is so significant that such drastic measures might even cross someone's mind. Even though, as he partly admitted, the actual policy for general YouTube use doesn't require this level of panic. Talking about the extreme workarounds keeps the alarm bells ringing loud and clear. It's subtle, but very effective at manipulating how people see the situation.
And this all just feeds into his overall message, which he's very upfront about. He flat out says, and again, quoting him, "This is some bulls. I do not like the fact that a lot of websites are going to be essentially requiring ID." He sounds really frustrated with YouTube saying ID is only needed if the AI makes a mistake. He calls that argument ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah, and if we think back to our last deep dive analyzing his methods, it's a very consistent pattern, isn't it? He keeps trying to undermine trust in YouTube's AI by pointing to failures in completely different areas. He'll bring up stories like YouTube's AI banning someone just for knocking over a microphone stand, or how it struggles with comment bots, or how it demonetizes videos for certain words out of context, or fails to catch scam ads, or even porn ads sometimes. Now look, some frustrations with AI are definitely valid, right? These systems aren't perfect by any means. But what DeepHumor does is he kind of weaponizes these examples. He paints this broad picture of AI being totally incompetent, which then makes his conclusion that it will inevitably mess up your age and force you to show ID seem much more plausible. Notice how he keeps trying to make it bigger than just YouTube. He says, again, this isn't just going to be YouTube. Spotify's also asking people to show them IDs. That's a classic tactic in fearmongering, isn't it? You take one specific policy on one platform and blow it up into this huge internet-wide dystopian threat. Mass data collection, control. He frames it as collecting government IDs and photos, even pointing out YouTube already has tax info from creators, trying to make it seem even more sinister. It really taps into that existing anxiety people have about big tech and privacy.
Right, makes the whole thing feel much more threatening. And he really leans into the impact on creators too, doesn't he? He says, if you get marked as a kid and you refuse to show ID, you're basically pretty much screwed. Like, no monetization, no channel growth. He even brings up fears about big creators like Ant Venom, the Minecraft guy.
Yes, and this is such a crucial point of confusion he creates. It's really important we clarify this again. Getting monetized on YouTube, using advanced creator features, that stuff is tied to things like your channel, hitting certain watch time and subscriber goals, following the community rules, and existing verification, like verifying your phone number or your AdSense account. It is not tied to this separate age check system for accessing restricted content. He's deliberately mixing up access to specific videos with the overall health and viability of someone's channel and livelihood. That's where a lot of the fear among creators comes from, this idea that one AI mistake could just destroy their whole career.
So the stakes he's presenting for creators are just way, way overblown. And then he finishes it all up with these really passionate, sometimes expletive-filled calls for action. He's telling his audience, please do not stop talking about this. Make videos and talk about how bulls this is.
Yeah.
He also talks about being worried YouTube will suppress his videos because of past issues like demonetization or bans. And he directly asks viewers to boost the engagement to stop that from happening.
Absolutely. That whole strategy is about building a movement, right? He uses his own experiences, this narrative of being potentially silenced or victimized, to rally people against what he portrays as the common enemy, YouTube's supposed overreach. It's designed to stir up outrage, get people protesting online, and build this community unified against the perceived wrong. And of course, it also helps ensure his own videos get seen and shared widely. He even throws in a quick jab at parents, asking things like, why is there no mention of parents or guardians being able to parent their children? And questioning the point of YouTube Kids if the main site is doing this anyway. It's another angle, trying to shift the blame away from platforms, make the safety goals seem unnecessary, and just reinforce his core narrative that this is all about something else, like data grabbing, not actual child safety.
Okay, so as we wrap up this follow-up deep dive on DeepHumor's latest video, what's the bottom line here? What should listeners really take away from his continued narrative?
Well, the core distortion, it really hasn't changed. This new video, just like the last one we looked at, keeps mixing up two very different things. YouTube's specific targeted age verification for restricted content, which, remember, is a long-standing policy, just getting updated with new AI tech. He keeps mixing that up with this idea of a universal, maybe arbitrary ID demand for every single user just to browse the site or keep their creator features. And even when he momentarily brings up facts that contradict his main point, like admitting YouTube already requires ID for restricted content, he just strategically downplays it or ignores the implications to keep the main alarming story going. It's actually quite a display of how these fear-based narratives get built, using bits of truth, a lot of speculation, and strong emotional appeals.
So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you, listening right now, trying to navigate this world of fast-changing AI and online rules? How can you get better at telling the difference between a genuine concern and just alarmist speculation? What strategies can you actually use to stay informed, protect your digital self, but not get swept up in outrage marketing?
I think the key is really developing that critical thinking muscle. Always try to find the official sources. Don't just rely on one voice, especially if it's a loud or angry one. Compare information from multiple credible places. And don't be afraid to question things. Look for the actual evidence, not just appeals to emotion. Ask yourself, okay, can this claim actually be verified? Is this person ignoring facts that don't fit their story? Your ability to understand what's really going on online, your digital well-being, it honestly depends on actively engaging with information and evaluating it critically.